Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Saturday. I'm sorry to warm you guys here. Happy Saturday, day before the England final. Very, very patriotic to be here. Overwhelmed. You know what? I haven't watched one England game until Wednesday, the semi-final. I didn't want to. Some reason I didn't watch it. I feel like a jinx every time I watch. England seem to lose. I watched one game and it's so phenomenal. They're playing out their skin. I don't know half the players. I haven't watched England play football for so long. Obviously, as you know, the show is not going to be completely about football. But as a child, it was one of my. I was always very, like to say the word athleticism, very involved with athleticism. As you know, I've got a fast muscle twitch fibre. It's helped me communicate and feel confident speaking with the audience. You know, a bit of characteristics, emphasising ability, being my philosopher skills, being creative with my artwork. I mean, you see behind me, some of my artwork's got my Brexit stone there. As just a photographic edit just to show, because artists think they're amazing when they do a graphic edit, but I've got capabilities of doing that if I wanted to, but it's not really, I don't call that art. Art is what you see behind me, Parliament and the picture of the man. Let me show you my computer. I'll just turn it around a little bit. Yeah, that's art. Man and lady, umbrella, and the British icon phone box. Sorry, you guys on Castbox, you can't see it. I'm on my YouTube just speaking with the audience because I'm live on screen. I'm just giving them a bit of feedback. As we always do, we're going to do car instance. I'll give you a bit of a rundown what's going to happen. Talk about the lineup for tomorrow's game, the final. I don't talk about sport much, maybe boxing here and there. In a blue moon, if it's a big fight, I feel like the need to say this person's fighting for a world title. As Billy Giles living in his constituency, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I live in the same constituency, and I had a little spell on boxing. I'm not a what's the word? I don't get starstruck. Never been starstruck of anyone in my life. Never will do. You know, because I'm always happy of my own. Because that person who's a world champion or that person who's a prime minister, where I'm trying to get, is never going to give me any gratitude for what I'm doing. That's how I see things. So I never look up to these people. I want to be them people, but I never look up to them. If I see them, I want to go, oh, please let me have a picture. Oh, give it all that, because that's not me. That's not who I am. I want to be that person because I feel like I can do a better job. I don't know how you look at, you know, everyone's got aspirations in life. Everyone's got aspirations in life. I feel like some people are doing things differently and should be things should be dealt with in a better way. I mean, I try and tackle knife crime. Like I said, we should ban them off the shop floors, selling them. You know, to mother, father, you got to have a license to buy a knife. If you're a butcher or a chef, that's the only people that have to buy a sharp knife. That's what I said before, wasn't it? That's the only way you can ban knife crime. I'm trying to support the country. As you know, I do my car instance. I'm trying to, you know, influence youth of the day. I mean, some of us think, you know, it's just blabbing on about the same old spill. But if I keep sending the message out there, which needs to be done, you know, like a church, they preach the, you know, church is a good stepping stone for understanding law, isn't it? Absolutely. You know, methodical approach to anything you do in life. You need to do it and do it well. I'm here as much as possible. Tomorrow I'm not here. So I'll put my hands up when I'm here, I'll put my hands up when I'm not here. But yeah, you know, I like to come through. I like to give it my all. I like to tackle knife crime. I like to support tackling knife crime. I'm supporting the NHS. You know, tackling the car incident, I'm supporting the NHS, the police, the fire brigade. I'm a work coach. Ring me up. Am I looking for work? No. I'm doing my philanthropist job here, thank you. I'm supporting the whole country more than what the sitting advice can do. One sitting advice occupant inside sitting, but no disrespect if anyone here is a sitting advice, you know, that's their occupation. But they see about 5 people in the whole day, and all they do is give advice. They don't sort your problem out, so they're no good. I can give you just as much advice here. I'm not saying no good, but I could give just as much advice here to, you know, within a day, sometimes 1,000 people in a day. So that's more than what a sitting advice bureau could do. So why is this not my procurement? This is my job. This is what I do, and this is what I love, and this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. They can like or lump it. There's drug. You've got people giving out PIP to narcotic abusers. You've got people giving out PIP, ESA to drug dealers that are destroying our kid, the youth of today. No disrespect if everyone, each their own devices. Everyone's got their own lives, the way they want to go about things. I can't tackle narcotics. It's when the doctor sells it for starters, and that kills you. That burns your liver. You get free prescription drugs. That can kill you, ruin your liver. When our older folks go and they've been giving them, all these doses of medicine, how do you know what's done to their inside, their liver, their kidney? When we get older, we're going to get bribed into taking. Oh, you need mental health tablets. You need these tablets. No, you don't, because that's what's going to destroy you. Absolutely destroy you as a person. You won't be thinking straight. You'll be thinking how they want you to think. Slow, like tap water, drip. You're going to be a drip. You're going to be a drip for the rest of your life because you're taking orders from your doctor. Live your life purely of the aesthetics of life. Absolutely. I mean, it's up to you if you want to be an atheist or theophilist, but, I was brought up in the Church of England and I've stuck as much as I can by the law all my life. Even more now, as you know, this is my parliamentarian. I've set this up myself, all this in my house. I had nothing. I've got everything taken off me. Everything taken. My 5 cars, my kids, a lot. I got put in a shared accommodation. Like I said, I was working at home and shit. I saw people worse off than me. Compassion. Let me tell you, compassion will make you thrive through your day. They say Christian, a true Christian, will get by with just a bit of pen and paper. No TV, no nothing. Or that 2 years ago, I had just pen and paper. That picture just behind me was in 2019 when I only had pen and paper. A small bit of money. I didn't have a passport. I didn't have nothing. I couldn't afford nothing. Literally nothing. I was working at a food bank to get food because I had no money. I used to work in the food bank to provide other people in the same situation. Well, most people would go and spend their job on alcohol, so they needed food. But I didn't drink, didn't take any narcotics, but I still couldn't afford to live in Greater London. It's expensive to live there. But obviously, most people in Greater London, they got kids with someone, or they got live with their mum and dad. I was living in a house share, and it's expensive. £650 for a house share. Where I'm living now is my own whole accommodation, all mine. Masonette flat, nice flat, modern flat, in a nice constituency. Everyone knows Essex. I'm in a posh area, and I'm overwhelmed. I've got a nice place, but we always want that one bit further. That's what I say. Aspirations in life and compassion will make you thrive to live another day and want a better life. So one day I want to think to myself, I'd like my own bungalow. That is my target, to own my own bungalow. I work hard. People will say, yeah, he's just doing an hour and a half, but it takes about an hour to set up. It takes another hour to share the social media. After I finish my show, I write each segment what I was talking about. So like segment 1, I was talking about car incidents. Segment 2, football. Segment 3 was talking about COVID, traveling abroad. And I've got to do like 8 different segments, and I'm writing all that out after I finish the show. What the show's about, and try and influence people to come and join my show. I'm a political analyst, a political influencer. I'm supporting, like I said, NHS, Fire Brigade, and police, and most of all, our families. Your niece, your nephew, my niece, my nephew, my son, your daughter, your mum, your dad, your granddad. I'm supporting the UK roads. I'm supporting all the stabbings, trying to influence these politicians to push stronger laws. I've written to the MP the other day, 2 MPs, Priti Patel, she's a crime investigator, works with the crime secretary, and she's helped all the asylum seekers, things like that. So I'm sending emails every day to different politicians. I sent an email to Will Quince because he's in my constituency, trying to tackle these knife crimes. If I see one incident of people acting like a juvenile in a situation like football on Sunday, full well we've got, UK is a big, well, not big country, it's a medium-sized country. We've got over like 60 million people in a population. You know, at least 20 million and 60 million are going to be out on the street on Sunday, causing an absolute mayhem. Throwing drink everywhere. We've got COVID, highest rate rising in COVID since, we've just come out of lockdown. Now we've got the highest rate again. We're going to be back in lockdown in October. People going out, they're throwing beer over each other. How do you know out of them people have not got COVID? Now they're throwing their contaminated beer over the next person, going to spread COVID. So I say Sunday, go out, have a good time. But yeah, have a good time. But you really need to keep. I think you need to stay at home and have a good time rather than go out and then risk the chance of catching COVID. Bring it home to your loved ones, your daughter, your son, your niece, your nephew, your nan, your granddad. You could be the cause of the death of your own mum and dad. My best friend, close friend, lost her father to COVID. My son's had COVID. And that's all through stupidity of the inhumane people that think, I don't need a vaccination. I am He-Man. I can go through town, I can celebrate, I can stick narcotics up my nose, but you can't put a vaccine in your arm. You don't know where the narcotics come from. As far as you know, they come from Cuba. But little do you know, the white powder you stick up your nose, you can make a kilogram for £10. You're paying £100 for it. That's how stupid the inhumane people are in this population. Yeah, that is realistically and honestly the truth. You're in the UK. How do you think you're gonna get cocaine imported through the airport? Not. It's not going to happen. It's very, very unlikely that it's going to happen. It does happen, but very, very rarely it does happen. Believe me. Believe me. Sodium crystals and I'll tell you what makes it, and this is stupid, I want to educate people now, it's sodium and pneumonia. Check it online, you can buy it for about, I shouldn't be educating because some of you people think I'll go and sell it, but this is what a lot of people are doing. You're buying it and it's going in your body, ruining your body, killing yourself, paying £100 for it and it costs about £5 to make. It's a load of old jank. So look after your health, because like I said, the wealthiest man is not the one with £1 million in his pocket. The wealthiest man is the healthiest man. Look after your health. Look after your health. Anyway, before entering the UK roads, do not enter the road under sleep deprivation, under the influence of narcotics or alcoholism. Check your tyres for PSI limits. Check your engine oil, water coolant tank. Make sure they're topped up to maximum level. No, thank you, Digi Rashid. Lovely to see you, but please know, to me, that sort of text is vulgar. I'm very, very thankful that it come through, but it could be useful today, i.e. my niece, my nephew, my own children. Please do not try and educate the children. I know it's a bit banter, but children don't take it lightly. Let's try and influence the kids into what reality, what they could be wasting their money on. Living a life of purity, living a life of the aesthetic of life, the highs and lows. When I wake up in the morning, I don't have a sore head. I don't drink. The worst thing I drink was what I had yesterday. Now I've got a bottle of Coke. That is all I do, literally all I do. 365 days a year for the last 4 years. And I'll do it for the rest of my life because last time I had a drink, I woke up with a sore head. Why do you want to wake up with a sore head? Why don't you want to wake up and support the whole country from killing themselves? That's what I thought. I want to be remembered, not forgotten for my stupid antics. But yeah, check your water coolant tank and your engine oil. Make sure they're topped up to maximum level. Make sure you've got plenty of sufficient fuel on board before taking off to the destination, because there could be a road congestion, car incident. Check for check for police further road incidents and their signals. They say pull over. What break law? Check for speed. Yes, speed limits. Check your centre mirror and wing mirror before acting into a safe, sufficient directional choice. Making sure you and your passengers on board have seat safety belts, and your babies Have their car seat adapters adjacent to the car seat and a seatbelt over the top before you enter the UK roads. Now, moving on to the incidents inside the UK. Probably not going to be relevant to many people, listeners listening now, because they might not be thinking about driving out of town because the England game's tomorrow. But in Southend today at 5:39 p.m, only a few hours ago, ladies and gents, partially blocked near Southend, Basildon, partially blocked the Chase. Slow traffic, partially blocked and slow traffic due to accident on the Chase at Warwick Road at 20 to 6 p.m. That could have been someone driving an infant's alcohol and narcotics, got back from the pub trying to get back home to Southend. Who knows? A13, heavy traffic due to full weekend closure on A13 Stamford Hope by the bypass, both ways between A128 Brentwood Road, Orsitt at A1014 at Mammon Way, Stamford Hope turn off. 10:15 a.m. this morning. There's one more incident. I'll do one more incident, Ipswich and see North London, and then we're going to move on. B1075, road closed. Police incident, traffic Copenhagen. Road closed due to police incident on B1075, Vulcan Street, both ways between St Nicholas Street, the Falcon Pub, and Silent Street. Traffic is Copenhagen. The road is closed for an incident earlier this morning. There is no access to Buttermarket car park. 6:05 this morning. North London, A1201 roadblock accident. Stacey traffic congestion to detour in operation. Road blocked and Stacey traffic due to accident. A1201 Blackstock Road, one-way street between A503 Seven Sisters Road. 12 pins traffic lights and Amber Primary School. Congestion to Greens Lane, east of the park. Also affecting A503 Seven Sisters Road, as reported at 4 p.m. today. We're going to move on with the talk about the Euros. Let's see what's going on. Thank you all for staying tuned, staying observed and both preserved. Makes you part of the aristocracy social elite. You're a critical thinker, just listening in, trying to think. You can try and negotiate, yourself. By listening, you can make a difference to your community just by listening. Tuition yourself what's going on around the world, what could be changed. Maybe something to do with reproduction. What are people wasting? Paper. Buying a newspaper. You're buying a newspaper. What is it? 80 pages long. It could be a tabloid newspaper. A4 sheet of newspaper. You're buying that every day. So you're adding to reproduction waste. Because you can read that paper. Some people only read 2 pages. Throw it in the bin. Don't even recycle it. That's a lot of paper gets wasted. Fish and chips. Run it all your chips, throw the paper in a normal bin. Doesn't get recycled. It's just wasted. Reproduction, wasting trees. I paint. I don't waste paper. Because when I'm dead, my paintings could reproduce. Someone could be an absolute trillionaire in my painting with a bit of money. So it's not wasted. I'm making memories. But you know what I mean? Newspaper, you buy it, bin it, there's no memory, it's gone. It's thrown in the ground. It's what David Attenborough was on about, reproduction, recycling. The youth of today are not educated in reproduction. They're going to eat McDonald's takeaway. Let's get a takeaway. Throw their shit out the window, my language. But that is, I sometimes I'd get a little bit aggressive just to sink the messaging. I shouldn't be swearing. Being part of the aristocracy, social elite, well-spoken mannerism, man with high intellect on my level of experience, I should not be swearing, but sometimes I get myself frustrated. I've seen it. Families, council families that don't respect the community we live in and just throwing their rubbish out the window like they don't care. Like they're hard done by. They get their McDonald's wrapper, throw it out the window. They haven't been educated by their adults, or they're dumb and listen to the adults. But there you go. I was taught through a Church of England. That's exactly how I try to teach my kids. Don't get me wrong, my kids are not perfect by far. They had a hard time the last few years of me being there. Not because of me, because of the chemical reaction of the relationship itself. And that's what happens. You don't get out of that situationship, you're going to put the troubles on your own children. So, I'm here for a good reason. Make that change. Make that change for the better of your well-being. I wouldn't be who I am today if I didn't make that change. So if I can do it, you can do it. I'm happy. How many years have I been doing this now? 3 years. I'm here. 4th year after Christmas. And I do this methodically every single day. Just like I used to do church 3 times a week. I used to Bible study, choir practice, church on a Sunday, food bank on a Friday. So 4 times in church out of 7 days, which made me the man of purity. I had all these hatreds back in Essex. Justin's gone for hours going to church. No, Justin is actually seeing 24/7, crystal clear as day, that how many inhumane idiots are in this world. I don't need to be surrounded and corrupted by inhumane people. This is why I sit here, giving good guidance for the good, kind souls that is out there that want to better the world, not ruin it. Euro 2020, best wishes from the Queen. Everyone listening, we all want England to win tomorrow. Well, we don't want England, like I was just saying, to go and be absolute reprobate and wreck it for us. Like some of the supporters flashed a green taser in Schmeichel's eye, the goalkeeper's eye, at the last game. They wreck it for the England squad. England are now getting fined for the stupidity of that person, that one supporter, putting the taser in Schmeichel's eye. The game before, we had the supporters swearing the head off at the little England 6-year-old, German 6-year-old supporter because she was crying because they lost. Yeah, the England swearing at her. That's not funny. That's not funny. But this is the first time in a long, long time we have been to the finals, and I cannot wait. I'm so excited. When I watched that last game, my heart was pounding all the way for him to extra time. So here's what the Queen says. Euro 2020, the Queen recalls 1966 as she wished England team well. Queen has recalled presenting the World Cup trophy in 1966 as she sent her good wishes to the England team ahead of the Euro 2020 final. She said she hoped that history would record the team's success, but also the spirit, commitment and pride with which you have conducted yourselves. The monarch said she had seen what it meant to the players to win a major tournament 55 years ago. Gareth Southgate's team played Italy at Wembley on Sunday. If England play like they did against Ukraine, we're going to wipe Italy. We are going to wipe Italy. Italy play the same sort of football, but I don't think they're going to be as strong as what Ukraine are. If England go out the same attitude, the way they did against Ukraine, we could win that, no messing. But it's times where England, looked a bit weak and they come back even stronger. Just kept coming back. Hope they go out positive as they did. Her message reads, 55 years ago, I was fortunate to present the World Cup to Bobby Moore and saw what it meant to the players, management and support staff to reach and win the final of a major international football tournament. I want to send my congratulations and that of my family to you all reaching the final of the European Championships, and send my good wishes for tomorrow with the hope of the history will record not only your success, but also the spirit, commitment and pride with which you have conducted yourselves. England are absolute, from what they were, last time I watched was Euro 96, probably, when Beckham and all that was there. The way the football was just totally adapted is phenomenal. All these young players are absolutely. Sterling is amazing. That Maguire, I thought that Maguire. So I don't know the players. There's no, if you rule off a load of names, I wouldn't know. But Maguire, I sort of remember Maguire. I know Harry Kane because I priced a job up with my old landlord, Harry Kane's stepmother's house in Potter's Bar. So I know Harry Kane. Maguire. That's about it. That's about it. Oh, Sterling. That is probably about it. The England squad. I know. I don't know many players. I don't follow any football as like I used to. Queen's grandson, the Duke of Cambridge, is a football fan and, as president of Football Association, has attended some of England's matches at Wembley. His son, Prince George, and wife, the Duchess of Cambridge, joined him for the round of 16th match against Germany. The Queen is not the only person wishing the England team well, with Captain Harry Kane revealing that actor Tom Cruise had called the squad. He told BBC Radio 5, "We actually had Tom Cruise get in touch yesterday evening. You got everyone who loves football." Kane added, "We're not fortunate enough to have to watch one of his films, so I think he was over in the UK and he just dialed in on a FaceTime us. I just wish us the best as a group." So that was nice of him. I'm not sure if he'll be there at the final or not, but football is such a big part of the world, and it's not nice to have that support. There you go, Mr. Tom Cruise. It's called. I see a thing on TikTok, Tom Cruise. I don't know if any of you guys. At the Rovers. Oh, nice. At the Rovers. Rovers where? Did you? Where's the Rovers? Don't know where the Rovers is. I'm not here tomorrow. I'm with members of my family. COVID travellers returning to England warn of 6-hour airport queues. People returning to England from abroad could face peak time airport queues of up to 6 hours when travel measures are eased, a union has warned. When 16th, I think 16th, is they're talking about changing the COVID restrictions. I tell you what, I'm still wearing my mask on the bus, in the shop, and when I feel anxious around people, I'll be wearing a mask. I don't go anywhere anyway. This is where I sit 7 days a week. I might pop to mum's, that's it. I don't go anywhere. I'm not a people person, I'm not a people pleaser. You either like me or you love me. Simple as that. I do enough. If people come through and enjoy my show, thank you. If I don't, goodbye. Go with the real world if that's what you want to do. It's not my problem. I've been there with the real world. It ain't a nice place to be hanging around inhumane people. No disrespect, but like I say, I got jumped when I was 18, and most of humanities ain't really what they cracked out to be, if I'm totally honest. All out for himself and not there to support others. I've worked for multi-millionaires, and when you break your back and you've got nothing, no one's there to pick you up. So I'm not picking anyone else up. They're not going to pick me up. Fully jabbed UK citizens coming back from the Abbey list countries will no longer need to quarantine from 19th July. The Immigration Service Union said the sheer number of passengers arriving at a shortage of border force officers will slow down checks. Transport Secretary Grant Shapps also admitted travel could be disrupted, but he added the airports, airlines and train and ferry companies were developing apps to cut queues. Grant Shapps is the MP of the constituency of Hatfield, Hertfordshire. He's also the Transport Secretary. That's why he's getting involved in the airline travel process. On Thursday, the government announced that fully vaccinated UK residents return to England in the Amber List travel destinations, including popular holiday countries such as Spain, France, Italy and the US, would no longer have to quarantine from Monday, 19th July. But they will still have to present 3 documents in addition to passports: a passport, locator form, monitoring possible contact with people who have coronavirus, proof of recent negative COVID test, proof of being fully vaccinated at least 14 days previously. Northern Ireland plans to adopt the same changes from the 26th of July, while both Scotland and Wales have said they will consider whether to do the same. Airlines and travel agents have reported a surge in bookings from overseas holidays since England's new rules were announced. But Lucy Morton, Immigration Service Union professional officer, told BBC Radio 4 Today programme the government needs to recruit more border force workers to cope with the increased demand. Ordinary passport checks took 2 to 4 minutes per person, she added. Adding, to those involved in the COVID-related documents, increased this to 8 to 12 minutes. At the moment, we are seeking peak time queues somewhere in the 1 to 2 hour mark, where we have got several aircraft that arrive at the same time, Miss Morton added. She told BBC News website the larger passenger numbers would further slow checks and create airport queues 3 times longer than at present. In response, Mr. Shapps admitted travel would be more distributed than it was back in 2019, but the issue was going to be the check inside rather than the border side at Heathrow and elsewhere. Airlines and train ferry companies were looking at digesting a lot of that, he said, adding that could help. But undeniably, travel is more disrupted than in the years gone by. Who's right about going away? I mean, Christmas, you know, it's really, you know, Tom, I really do ever want to go away. I'd like to go to New York for Christmas. Not any other day in the year, just Christmas. Well, the Christmas period. 2 weeks in New York over Christmas. 2 weeks in New York over Christmas. I like the film Home Alone, how Christmas looks in New York. I know how the Americans live. I worked in American Air Base when I was about 22 in Sudbury and Lakenheath. Americans are over the top with everything. So when you have a holiday, to me, going to New York would probably do me a little world of good, maxing my body for a couple of weeks. Have you ever had a Burger King in America? Costs about $4. Burger King in America costs about $4, which is what's $4 in about £3.50 in English money. Burger King over here, if you want a double Whopper meal, it's about £8-9 quid. £3.50. The fuel is extra cheap. Everything in America is so cheap. You know, if I was to go like a nice holiday there, it would be absolute phenomenal. I can't afford to go to America. I probably never will be able to, but I'll try my hardest to get there one way or another. I might see if I can travel by asylum seeker, I think. Anyway, we have a short bite, made a cup of tea. We've still got a few more segments to get through, guys. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate everyone. Hope you're all having a wonderful weekend. I hope you're all having a safe weekend. Because I know people live for the weekend. They just want to go on a massive binge. They want to go on a massive binge. Stick alcoholism and narcotics, you know. Alcoholism, narcotics. People live for the weekend. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you, know, I'm just saying there is change. No one's happy with what they do. Because when you're sitting in hospital with liver failure or kidney failure, you think to yourself, it's too late. I should have done what Mr. Johnson said back in July 2021. I go on about it every time when I come on the show. Probably people think I'm just being arrogant or incompetent. I'm not. I'm being competent. I'm giving you good advice. I'm trying to make change for everybody. There's room for change. Because if you're a parent and you haven't been influenced by alcohol and narcotics, you call yourself a parent. You're not fit for purpose. If you was at work under the influence of alcohol and narcotics, would you operate a machine knowing that it's fucking, I'm gonna say fucking because it needs to be said, because it happens. How many parents operate their fucking kids under the influence of alcohol and narcotics? But they can't operate a machine on the building site, you get slung off. So why ain't social services and the rest of you fucking pulling yourself together and, you know, acknowledging these dickheads that do it? Because you're not fit for purpose if you're, you know, you're trying to educate your kids and you're off your tits looking after them in the night time. Imagine you had a house fire because your dopey ass having a drink and your kids upstairs. You're so pissed that you don't know your kids upstairs. You get out, oh no, my kid's on fire now because you're a dickhead. You left the toaster on when you're lighting your fag because you're pissed out your nut. That's what I'm saying. Adults that drink, and parents that drink and under the influence of narcotics are not fit for purpose. But yet, government, social services, fuck knows how they let these parents get away with this shit in this world. When are we all going to stick together and fight back against all the shit, incompetent, inappropriate, incomprehensible parents that look after kids? I haven't seen my kids since 2018. I haven't had a drink since 2018 because I was with a reptile that drinks and addicted to alcohol and narcotics, and still she's addicted to alcohol and narcotics 4 years later. But who has bettered themselves? I was a professional boxer for 5 years, so I don't really have to, hold my hands up to my professionality, to what that inhumanity is, and still is. There's so many parents in the same boat getting away with it. When is the world gonna make a procurement for incompetency? They've got mental homes for incompetency people, but they're not in there. They're out in the real world, and you're letting them. You've got to let them. You've got to stick together and fight these scum. That's what I do day in, day out in here. Fighting knife crime. Fighting car incidents. The message will get out there eventually. If it takes me taking a knife in my chest, and I'll put up a good fight to try and stop these scumbags, I will. When I come on, I'm putting my own life with. I've had death threats. I've had hate crime. I've had exploitation all over social media. Because I've got human rights. And I'll fight against what I believe is right. And I'll do it every day. No one's going to stop me. If I see, all my news over Essex were in my constituency, stabbing in Colchester, stabbing in Clacton, shooting in Jaywick that week. I'm on social media trying to share the message. If you know anything about the incident, call Crime Stoppers anonymously. I'm putting myself out there to protect this dominion. In Hertfordshire, I'm not a policeman. I'm just studying politics. What the hell am I getting myself involved in criminology for? Get myself involved in car incidents for? I ain't got a bulletproof vest. I ain't got no CCTV at my door just in case someone comes in and shoots me in my sleep. But what I've got is a pair of balls that made of steel. That's what I've got. All stick together. Just sitting behind these shells thinking, I won't say anything, I won't grass him up. But he might stab my son tomorrow, or your niece, your nephew, or your nan. Got to share the message. Everyone's got to crank down on these scumbags and get rid of them. Narcotics is no good for you. Alcohol's no good for you. Racketeering is no good, is it? It's a law. I'm laying down my law. Restricted. Anyway, short break. I'll make a cup of tea and we're back.
Mr. Speaker, I'm sure the whole House will wish to join me in sending condolences
Love you all.
to friends of Sislin Faye Allen, who died earlier this week. She was the UK's first black female police officer, and she served in the Metropolitan Police. Mr. Speaker, I'm sure colleagues will also want to join me in wishing the England football team the best of luck for tonight's semi-final against Denmark. This morning I had meetings with ministerial colleagues and others, and in addition to my duties in this House, I shall have further such meetings later today. Jeff Black.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Prime Ministers, we hear a great deal in this place about the rule of law and injustice. Can the Prime Minister tell me what he's going to do about the injustice that my constituents in Falkirk and these families up and down the UK are facing every day because of the retrospective loan charge?
Turn this up here, guys. 2 seconds. This is just yesterday.
Hounding by HMRC, clearly out of control, accountable to no one, has managed to hoodwink, mislead his own Treasury Minister.
5 minutes.
And now, according to the head of HMRC, the retrospective loan charge appears to be without any legal basis or justification. Therefore, will the Prime Minister accept this matter needs further and immediate investigation?
Mr. Speaker, I'm acutely aware, as I think all colleagues are around the House, of the the pain suffered by those who entered into loan charge schemes. And I think, alas, that they were misguided to do so. But I think that the line taken by the Treasury, I'm afraid, is right on this.
Let's go to John Stevenson. John.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Prime Minister, there is more that unites us than divides us is very true of the United Kingdom. However, improved connectivity is vital to ensuring we remain united. The government's recent interim connectivity review has suggested some improvements. If this is really going to happen, then improvements must be made to the A75, the A69, and to the extension of the Borders Railway. Does the Prime Minister support such investment, and what is the timescale for such investment?
I thank my honourable friend for his excellent question. I think he should not have too long to wait for the final recommendations from Sir Peter Hendy about the A75 and other great features of union connectivity, which this government hopes to support. But we've already agreed 5 million from the UK and the Scottish governments to support the extension of the Edinburgh-Tweedbank Borders Railway to Carlisle.
We now come to the Leader of the Opposition, Keir Starmer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I join the Prime Minister in his remarks about the 7/7 anniversary? I remember where I was on that day, and we'll never forget it. I'm sure that's the same for everybody, and we will never forget all those affected, especially the family and friends of all those who died. Can I join the Prime Minister in his comments about Faelon as well, and also about football, and wish the very best of luck to the England football team this evening. I'm sure the whole country, with the possible exception of the Conservative MP for Ashfield, will be watching this evening and cheering England on. Mr. Speaker, can I also extend a special welcome to the new member for Batley and Spen? And will members opposite forgive me if I just turn round to look at the new member for Batley and Spen as she sits there on these benches beneath the plaque to Jo Cox, her sister. And that's a special and emotional moment for all of us on these benches. And I think for everybody across this House, it takes incredible courage and bravery to stand in that constituency and to sit on these benches beneath that plaque. Mr. Speaker, we all want our economy to open and to get back to normal. The question is whether we do it in a controlled way or a chaotic way. The Health Secretary told the House yesterday that under the government's plan, infections could go as high as 100,000 a day. Now, a number of key questions fall from that. First, if infections reach that level, 100,000 per day, what does the Prime Minister expect the number of hospitalisations, deaths, and the number of people with long COVID will be in that eventuality?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, there are a number of projections, and they're available from the SPI-M graph. But it's certainly true, Mr. Speaker, that we are seeing a wave of cases because of the Delta variant. But scientists are also absolutely clear that we have severed the link between infection and serious disease and death. And currently there are only a 30th of the deaths that we were seeing at an equivalent position in previous waves of this pandemic. And that has been made possible thanks to the vaccine rollout, the fastest of any European country. And I think what people would like to hear from the party opposite, because I wasn't quite clear from that opening question, is whether or not they support the progress that this country is intending to make on July the 19th or not, Mr. Speaker. He says it's reckless to go ahead. Does that mean he's opposing it?
Mr. Speaker, we know that the link between infection rates and deaths has been weakened, but it hasn't been broken. And the Prime Minister must, and he certainly should know the answer to the question I asked him. That he won't answer it here in the House hardly inspires confidence in his plan. Mr. Speaker, let's be clear why infection rates are so high. Because the Prime Minister let the Delta, or we can call it the Johnson variant, into the country. And let's be clear why the number of cases will surge so quickly. because he is taking all protections off in one go. That is reckless. The SAGE papers yesterday, Mr. Speaker, make clear that with high infection rates, there's a greater chance of new variants emerging, greater pressure on the NHS, more people will get long COVID, and test and trace will be less effective. Knowing all that, is the Prime Minister really comfortable with a plan that means 100,000 people catching this virus every day and everything that that entails?
Mr. Speaker, I really think we need to hear from what the Honourable what he actually supports. We will continue with a balanced and reasonable approach, and I've given the reasons. This country has rolled out the fastest vaccination programme anywhere in Europe. The vaccines provide more than 90% protection against hospitalisation. Both of them, Mr. Speaker, by the 19th of July, we will have vaccinated. Every adult will have been offered one vaccination. Everybody over 40, Mr. Speaker, will have been offered two vaccinations. That is an extraordinary achievement. That's allowing us to go ahead. Now, last week, Mr. Speaker, or earlier this week, he seemed to support opening up, getting rid of the 1 metre rule. He seemed to support getting back into nightclubs and getting back into pubs without masks, Mr. Speaker. But if he doesn't support it, perhaps he could clear it up now. Is it reckless or not, Mr. Speaker?
Mr. Speaker, we should open up in a controlled way. Keeping baseline protections such as masks on public transport, improving ventilation, making sure the track and trace system remains effective, and ensuring proper payments for self-isolation. The Prime Minister can't just wish away the practical problems that 100,000 infections a day are going to cause. Don't wish them away. The next obvious one is the huge number of people who'll be asked to isolate. If there are 100,000 infections a day, that means hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions of people are going to be pinged to isolate. The Financial Times estimates this morning that could be around 2 million people per week. The Mail says 3.5 million people a week. Either way, it's a massive number. It means huge disruption to families and businesses just as the summer holidays begin. So we know what the FT thinks. We know what the Mail thinks, what their estimates are. Can the Prime Minister tell us how many people does he expect will be asked to isolate if infection rates continue to rise at this rate?
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank everybody who self-isolates. They're doing the right thing. They're a vital part of this country's protection against the disease. And what we will be doing is moving away from self-isolation towards testing in the course of the next few weeks, and that is the prudent approach, because we will have, Mr. Speaker, vaccinated even more people. But what he can't explain, he can't have it both ways. He says it's reckless to open up, Mr. Speaker, and yet he attacks self-isolation, Mr. Speaker, which is one of the key protections that this country has. And let me ask him again. On Monday, he seemed to say he was in favour. He seemed to say he was in favour of opening up on July the 19th. Now he's saying it's reckless. Which is it, Mr. Speaker?
Maybe I can help a little, just to remind us that it's Prime Minister's questions. If we want opposition questions, we'll need to change standing up.
It's correct, isn't it?
The question was simply how many people are going to be asked to self-isolate if there's 100,000 infections a day, and he won't answer it. And we know why he won't answer it and pretends I'm asking a different question. He ignored the problems in schools. Now there's 700,000 children off per week because he ignored it. Now he's ignoring the next big problem that's heading down the track and going to affect millions of people who have to self-isolate. Now, it won't feel like Freedom Day to those who have to isolate, when they're having to cancel their holidays, when they can't go to the pub.
I just want to start a bit, come back to this in a while. It's 40 minutes long. Sir Keir Starmer had Boris, what he said. I mean, they both got a good argument, but Sir Keir Starmer's right in what he says. But in previous PMQs, Sir Keir Starmer has contradicted himself. You know, he's always going about, oh, how can you stand up as Prime Minister and say to families, you know, about the losses of their loved ones. The losses of their loved ones. How can you stand up and be happy about saying the losses of their loved ones? A lot of the losses of their loved ones, it's not coming from the Prime Minister's actions. It's coming from people taking risks, not getting their COVID vaccination. People going out in drinking circles, having people around their houses when he said there should be only two, people in your own bubble in your own house, not having your mates around to have a party in the evening. Them sort of things, them sort of risks that people are taking. And then they're watching news about the conspiracy theorists, thinking this is actually, conspiracy theorists are right with COVID. COVID's not real. It's the government are killing people. Why would you take risks? The biggest judiciary in the UK, they've got health advisors giving them advice, and no one's taking it into context. These health advisors have done years and years and years of academics. They're not just winding up the whole nation. You don't know. I mean, I've helped my friend for their NHS degree. I don't know everything about NHS. I just know about human biology and stuff. So my word and my paraphrasing within human biology is quite phenomenal, quite prodigious, I'd like to say, because I'm quite influential when it comes to nutrition, when it comes to body, bone structure, muscles, muscle groups. My wordings with things, I'm quite good at criminal law. I don't know everything about criminal law, but I'm quite good because I read books. I read law books, family law books. But I've got a business law book now. I haven't read that, but I'll put my hands up. I do not know anything about business. I do know one thing about business law. If you buy a second-hand good out of a second-hand shop, you get 6 months warranty. So if you buy a second-hand phone and it's faulty, you are supposed to get, if you've got a receipt, you're supposed to either get your money back or a replacement phone. I know that for a fact. And a lot of the shop assistants don't like to give it back because I was one of those people. For some reason, I went to citizens' advice where I already knew the answer. Ring the ombudsman, and they give me a food voucher. I felt like throwing at his head. That's not helping me out. I wanted them to do the call. I wanted them to help me out because I'm stressed out that I've just got a £200 laptop, what I bought from my birthday money, to get me through university, and the thing lasted about 2 days. So I almost threw the computer back at the owner's head and walked out the shop. I was livid. He wouldn't give me money back. And he knew I was in his shop 2 days before and pushed me out of the shop, and the police did not make an arrest for Section 8 GBH pushing me. Some things, like I've got an equity card. I'm insured against bullying. I'm insured against harassment. I'm insured against sexual exploitation. But the police don't always do a grand job. Not always. Doesn't matter what insurance, because doesn't matter how much council tax you pay. You're not always insured, and they don't always. I mean, I've had time where they've helped me out, but they don't always help you out. Not always help you out. Some people need to pull their weight more than others. I know they've got lots to deal with. I take my hat off to them for things they do. Sometimes they could pull, dig a little bit deeper to give the support you need, especially when you're paying the equity, especially when you're paying council tax, especially when you're a good community standard of a citizen, not breaking any laws. Anyway, Essex. This is sickening. Provocation caused in Ilford. Absolutely sickening. Imagine that. You sleep. You were just having a sleep because you're homeless. Sickening attack kills man sleeping inside Wood Hut in Ilford. This was a sickening target attack on 2 sleeping men inside the comfort of their own home. You're sleeping. In your own home. I read it wrong. 38-year-old victim, Inet Maney, tragic, died following the attack. 2 men burned down in a makeshift hut as 2 men sleeping inside, killing one and seriously injuring another. On the night of June 2008, night of June 18, 2019, Lana Octagon, Stancio 39, and Petri Delilu 59 poured petrol over a wood hut in Ilford before sunset light, while two men lay sleeping inside. The sickening attack followed a disagreement over who could live in the hut. So, this killing, arson, which is up to about 12 years, and murder. So that should be 37 years imprisonment, you know, by a righteousness of the written law, but he won't get done for murder. He'll get done for murder. Not for the arson. He won't get done for arson. He should get done for murder. He should get done for murder and arson. That's how the law should be, you know, that's how the law should be framed out. But they set the law, arson 12 years, murder's 25, life sentence. You get 25 years on good behaviour, and parole would get out in 18, so they forget the arson. In the trial at the Old Bailey, the court heard how Stancio had purchased a 4-litre jerry can and filled it with petrol from a Shell station before he had a Delilu headed for the hut, ready to burn it down. The huge blaze that engulfed the hut could be seen from as far as the North Circular Road, where witnesses called emergency services to rush to the scene. One victim, Ironet Manny, 38, managed to make it out of the burning hut, but died in hospital the next day after suffering 95% burns across his entire body. Shocking, absorbing information. Arnie Octavin Stancio, 39, was sentenced to life imprisonment with a maximum term of 31 years after being convicted of murder and causing bodily harm with intent following a trial at the Old Bailey. He's got 31 years. That's fair. That's a fair share, isn't it? Another man, aged 39, managed to escape from the fire, but suffered 45% burns all over his body, leaving him with life-changing injuries. Today, the 9th of July, Stancio was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 31 years after being convicted of murder and causing grievous bodily harm with intent. Delilu was also found guilty of grievous bodily harm in the same trial and pleaded guilty to manslaughter at an earlier hearing. He was sentenced to 12 years and 6 months in custody. Lewis Attrill from the CPS said, "This was sickening. Targeted attack on two sleeping men inside the comfort of their own home. Stancio appeared to hold some kind of vicious grudge that led him to the recruiting Delilu before purchasing petrol and making the determined 40-minute walk to the hut from the petrol station." If you realise what alcohols and narcotics do to you, it makes you give you negative thoughts about incompetent people, how you act. But you're incompetent because you're taking alcohol and narcotics. You don't realise it. The negative substance in your body will make you have a negative defect of how you act within humanity. As a result of these appalling actions, one man has lost his life and another has been left with life-changing burns, which will act as a constant reminder of that horrific night for the rest of his life. Stancio and Delilu acted together and they acted deliberately to cause serious harm. They initially told police at the scene that the two injured men were their friends and that they had been invited to a barbecue before witnessing the explosion. She added, the prosecution case included CCTV footage, forensic, fire analysis, and strong witnesses' testimony from the brave surviving victim who flew over from Romania to give evidence in person. Holy's conviction gives the surviving victim and the family and friends Ironet Manny some comfort in the knowledge that these men will only now be jailed for a long time and will no longer pose a threat. Well, good riddance to the scumbag. Hopefully, when they come out, we don't want them to come out, but hopefully that life sentence will stop them from reoffending, because when they go to prison, they're surrounded by other victims, well, other offenders, and all they learn is crime while they're in there. They don't really learn about being educated. They don't want to learn about being educated. Too docile, too inhumane to want to learn. That's why they make a change now before it's too late. Putting sin in your body, this is the defect that it could have for the rest of your life. Make that change. You know, if you want to make change in your aspirations in life, your job prospects, be prosperous when prosperity matters. You got to put positive substance in your body to think positive. A131 house of crash, face of irresponsible drug driver who killed elderly women. Mr. Brankin's brakes were also defective. A drug driver who killed an elderly woman in the morning car crash has been jailed. Callum Brankin has been driving his car along the A131 Mount Hill in Housestead. That's why I say think safety, think first at the start of the show, every show in Housestead, Essex. At around 11 a.m. on October the 12th, 2019, when he crashed into an 87-year-old Barbara Bragg's vehicle. This is reported back from 2019, but his sentence has probably just recent. So make sure you stay tuned to see what young juveniles on our roads. Brankin has lost control of the blue Mini Cooper as he negotiated sling left bend as he attempted to gain control. He went into the opposite lane, hitting Barbara's green Nissan Micra. I must admit, even when I first passed my test, you know, I passed my 21. I was a father then, still father now. I was always very, very careful driver, very careful. I never broke the speed limit. I never got a speeding fine. I took a speeding fine, but I never had a speeding fine. I never had a speeding fine for myself. I took someone speeding 3 points before, which lost me my driving licence. The busy road was shut for hours and Barbara was airlifted to the hospital where she sadly died. The 23-year-old Callum Brankin was arrested and later charged with causing Barbara's death. Officers who attended the scene found evidence of recent cannabis used in the driver's footwell and door pockets. Tests showed that he was above the drug driving limit at the time of collision. It was also established that one of his front brakes and one of his rear brakes was worn, and a recent MOT advising they should be replaced. New replacement brake parts were also found in his car, indicating Brankin had known the car brakes were badly worn. At Ipswich Crown Court, Wednesday, June the 2nd, he admitted to causing death by careless driving while the drug driving limit. At the same court yesterday, Friday, July 9th, he was jailed for 2 years and 1 month and banned for driving for 3 years. He also has to take an extended retest. He's lucky. He's not life imprisonment. It's death, isn't it? During the sentencing, the judge stated the fact Brankin and Oxford Meadows civil headman had failed to maintain his brakes was an aggravating factor. Sergeant Steve Holmes from the Serious Collision Investigation Unit said Callum Brankin's actions were woefully irresponsible. He got behind the wheel of a car he knew had defective brakes, while also over the drug driving limit. He caused Barbara's death, and he will have to live with that on his conscience for the rest of his life. The case also highlights the tragic dangers of drug driving. Drugs affect your ability behind the wheel. They affect your judgment and reaction speed. Drugs can stay in your system for days after you had last had them, and even if you don't feel impaired, you still can be, and you still test positive for them. If you're caught drug driving, you could lose your license, which could mean you lose your job. If you lose your job, you might not be able to pay your bills, so you could lose your home. Even worse, that case shows, the consequences can be fatal. You could kill yourself or someone else, which we have just read he has, and which I always say at the start of the show: do not enter your vehicle under the influence of alcoholism. Do not enter your vehicle under the influence of narcotics. But if we all get together and accumulate my show with more people on board, I know some people haven't got the patience to listen to good advice, and rather go and listen to Bob Marley or Ziggy Marley or Tupac and smoke a J with their mates and have a beer. That's most of the population. But the ones that are listening are part of the aristocracy social elite. You're critical thinkers. You're thinking about your health. You're thinking about your knowledge, going with wisdom. You're making me encouraged, but you're also very encouraged yourself because you're nice, competent people, apprehensible, sociable people. The circle I want to keep my circle with. Them sort of people. I drink my cup of tea. You all come round. Every single listener here today, I'd invite you in for a cup of tea. Because you're absolutely phenomenal. I want to build proclamation and government. I'm going to have more people on board once I've finished my tuition. This is my job. No one's changing my job. No way, Jose. This is what I do. If you want to come on board with me and you're interested in what I do, I could easily train you up to do what I do. Not a problem. I want to get this message out worldwide. Not just in the UK, worldwide. Again, someone talking about politics and criminal requirement in Turkey, in Pakistan. It's interesting stuff. Trying to influence the youth of today, trying to influence the adults that are acting inhumane today. If you don't drink, if you don't take narcotics, you want the best life for the up and coming youngsters, the youth today. This is maybe something you want to jump on board and is participating, because we start getting funded for the government to build and support the nation together. We can do it together as a team. Why not? I've been doing this in philanthropy for a year. I enjoy it. I'm getting help and support that I long awaited. I should have got when I was 18. I was in a coma. My nose is still bent. There's still a part of my nose in my brain, more than likely. I had brain damage in that when I was 18. But some of you might think, well, he's still clever. Yeah, but I've got my memory. I still have memory loss. Do still have memory loss. But I still support the nation. I still know my way around the jurisdiction of a dictionary. So I'm not stupid, but my photographic memory I don't have much of. I tell me to go one way, I won't have to come back. There's some things I can do that some things you can do that I can't do. Something prodigious to prominent professor. I give it all the speech, as you know. There we go.
Hey Boris, you all right?
I'm good. How are you?
What's been on your mind today?
Well, I can't hide it from. I've been thinking a bit about this general election campaign.
How do you typically start your day?
I tend to get up pretty early, and then I go down and take the dog for a walk, and the dog does his business, and so on. So that's my start to the day.
And what's the most surprising thing you found about being PM?
I was pretty incredulous the other day when I found out I couldn't actually get a Thai curry to deliver to number 10 because of the security problems. The security there was too tight.
And on that subject, fish and chips or a Sunday roast?
I think fish and chips on a cold night on a beach, you can't beat it.
Why are we having this election?
We're having this election because basically the whole political system is paralyzed, and we have a fantastic Brexit deal that we did. Nobody said we could do it, but we did. And then Parliament refused to knock it through, so that we're stuck in the EU when the people voted to leave. So we need to have an election.
This one divides opinion, but Marmite, yes or no?
Marmite, yes.
What do you think are the biggest challenges facing our country?
Look, this is an amazing country. It's going gangbusters in so many ways. We lead the world in so many technologies, but our political system is blocked at the moment, and that's the thing that we need to address. We need to get a new government, a new majority government, and I hope a conservative government, and move this thing on.
Now, I know you're a very busy man, but when was the last time you cooked, and what did you make?
How are you? The last time I cooked was last night, and I made steak and oven chips, which were very good.
What's your favourite band?
Look, this is either the Clash or it's the Rolling Stones, and mainly I listen to the Rolling Stones like this. So you can make of that what you will.
what would you say to someone who's wondering who to vote for at this election?
I would say it is a very, very simple choice. You can either go with Jeremy Corbyn and the Labour Party and be in no doubt that if you vote for any other of the minor parties, you will end up with a coalition of chaos with Jeremy Corbyn at the lead, at the head. And that will not only be an economic catastrophe for this country, it will also be a political disaster, because their programme, would you believe it, is for another Brexit referendum, next year, spend the whole of the next year in a referendum on Brexit, a referendum on Scotland, to say nothing of the economic catastrophe involved in a Corbyn-led socialist, semi-Marxist Labour government. Or you can go with us, get Brexit done with our deal, which is ready to go, oven ready, slam it in the microwave, it's there. Get it done in days, and take the country forward. We're investing massively in the NHS, the biggest investment for a generation, massively in schools, in policing, 20,000 police we're putting out on the streets of this country. We're going to be doing a huge infrastructure revolution for the whole of the UK, gigabit broadband across the whole of the UK. And we can pay for all that because we're the party that understands the importance of a dynamic market economy. So that's my message. Vote for us, vote for a compassionate, one nation, conservative government that understands the symmetry between a free market economy and great public services. Let's get Brexit done and unleash the potential of this whole country. See you later.
There you go. I wanted to see, but it's always nice to see different political perspective. Obviously, he's Prime Minister. I know all about neoliberalism, government, Conservatives, bona fide conservatism, exactly what it says in the 10. It's genuine, it's traditional, it's the old value, political perspective. Neoliberalism, a fair trade system. They've got their own values, their views, and everyone's got their own opinions, what they think. But I've always been with Brexit's Margaret Thatcher era. My granddad's in World War II of Winston Churchill. So, I've just gone with traditional values. Some people go British gas, some people go the Scottish gas. I know what Conservative stands for. I don't look into Labour, what they stand for. I didn't think much of Jeremy Corbyn. I have a lot of backlash, and I always criticise Labour. A lot of Labour supporters will admit they're just there to try and put Conservatives down. It's just like football, isn't it? You support Arsenal, you can put Chelsea down. You support Chelsea, you can put Arsenal down. It's just what part and parcel. You try to sell the party politics. I'm not Conservative stand for neoliberalism, fair trade system. What Boris is doing is putting better infrastructure, more policing, more NHS workers, bigger hospitals, which we need, don't we? We've got our parents getting old, we're getting older. Might need operations. My children are disabled. They need special, what's it called, wards. They need special doctors, special equipment. So all that, I'm standing with Conservative. I'm hoping the parents that are being parents to them kids that are disabled, they've got the right value that Conservative are wanting bigger and better infrastructure. Would Labour? Quite possibly not, because when Tony Blair was in charge, when I had cancer, Boris Johnson again pushed for better infrastructure, which got my mum through cancer, I believe. I don't know, no one knows the real facts, but I know Boris Johnson was pushing for better infrastructure while he was a Foreign Secretary, I believe. I think he might have been Foreign Secretary back then. I was only 16. So about 1996. I think that's when Tony Blair was there. Mate, was it Tony Blair or David Cameron? I'm not sure. It's down for you to check out. I know it's like Tony Blair, David Cameron. I'm getting a bit muddled up. I know Boris Johnson was there pushing for the infrastructure back then. I know he was Foreign Secretary. I've got all the old political books when I used to do media studies from back then as well. So, I do know what I'm talking about. I do get things a bit muddled. I'm not, it's many years ago. Who can remember what happened in 1996? apart from the Euro 1996, or was it World Cup? World Cup 96 when David Beckham got a red card. Lost the game for us. Anyway, Italy first thing, let's talk ahead of the final. This is the grand finale. The grand finale. All the England chants, I've seen them all on TikTok. I even see the Wizard of look for the Wizard of Oz. You know, because everyone's doing a grand finale. I think I see one of Only Fools and Horses. See one for Only Fools and Horses. The best one is Wizard of Oz. Saying it's coming home. Check for Wizard of Oz. It's coming home. It is fun. It's quite funny. It's quite good. There's loads on TikTok. If you're a TikTok fan, check the It's Coming Home Wizard of Oz. I think, like I say, what's his name of Only Fools and Horses? Del Boy of Only Fools and Horses. He's done one. Giving Gav Southgate, you know, he's quite a good influence, isn't he, Del Boy? He's a good influence for the, you know, everyone loves it. Everyone's seen Only Fools and Horses. So, you know, if he's influencing the England squad, everyone's behind him. The Queen's behind him, I'm behind him. You even got Brad Pitt, that's not even from England, behind England. That's amazing. Anyway, goodbye for now. Italy first England, Sunday, 8 beaters, that's your lot. This time tomorrow, Wembley will be absolutely bouncing. And Euro 2020 final will finally be underway. Anyone else feel like kill on Christmas Eve to keep you busy until kick-off and to distract from the nerves? Here is to come. Euro 2020 final content to keep you busy. 8 rounds, 104 answers. The bumper Euro final quiz. Raheem Sterling, scapegoat to national icon. We are ready to give everything. A final word for some of the three lines. Unreal send-off. The support for the team has been incredible all tournament from Harry Kane. This is on his Twitter page. Amazing scenes at the Three Lions Department Station, St George's Park for the final time. Listen to this. If it plays. Don't know if it will. Just going to the Twitter feed. I'm just going to play the live. You can hear the crowd. Hello, Mahoob. How you doing, buddy? There you go. England driving back for the coach and the last going to the stadium today, I think.
Oh, look at the Jesus. Oh, you're all the best.
You can't really hear them. They're in the England squad in a coach going maybe to the Wembley Stadium. I'm not sure. I'm not the money smart. I'm not going to jump to conclusions. And you got all the crowd cheering them on as they come through and the coach. Harry Maguire, we're ready to give everything. That is one player I want to see more of. Harry Maguire is a great player. He got subbed off, rightly done by Gary Neville, because he had a yellow card. I think Gary Neville was worried about getting another and taking that game. Maguire is a quality player, absolute quality player. And Grealish, is it Grealish? What his name is? He's like Joe Cole. He is another Joe Cole all day long. The way he turns in out the players and the way he tries to turn to get taken out. He's a very, very good danger man. We need danger men. Him and Sterling together are a cause for trouble for any defender because the way they run at players, that's what we need to win games. They're the ones that could break the deadlock for winning England side in the final. Grealish and Sterling. Sterling was unreal. Second half, how he just kept running at the players. Absolutely phenomenal. Final push, England. We've come a long way together. One more big push from all of us. I feel like Harry Kane, he's a bit like a Bergkamp. He's a slow mover, but if he gets the ball, he's going to, and he gets sight of goal, he sniffs the goal, he can hit the back of the net. That is what Bergkamp used to be like. Wasn't fast player, but he had sight of goal, and he knew how to turn a player with his. He knew what he's up against with his speed, basically. and then he can turn the play inside out when he needs to. Maybe not get fully past it, but enough to get on target with the ball and then take a shot. He's a Bergkamp. Bergkamp used to do that sort of play. You know I come from, don't you? One more push. Let's go. England will not have a better chance to get over the line. When I was watching Sterling, there's like a little Gio Franco Zola in and out of players. I don't know how do you explain a player of that sort? You know, he's some quality. The shortest players on the pitch, but the most dangerous also the players on the pitch. And Geddes. BBC Sport presenter Wembley, John Watson. This game means huge amounts, certainly for England. It's a very rare time to be completing such a huge match. England have failed on so many occasions in semi-finals, and this is not just the second time in the history that they've managed to qualify for major men's finals. The weight of history has gone against them, but the same can be applied for Italy. They failed to qualify for the 2018 World Cup, but are now on this credible 33-match unbeaten run. It's very, very hard to split these two teams, but arguably England will now have a better chance to get over the line and long last in a major tournament. Whatever the score tomorrow, I mean, even the supporters, you know, because if we lose, you know what the supporters will be like. They're going to be out, mate. I'll be absolutely gutted, but I don't drink. I control my temperament. Although I think people in town probably hurt me on Wednesday. The first game I ever watched, but how my heart felt when I was a young kid kicking that ball. And my dad's found out he was good enough to be at that level of football. I just didn't wait in the right circles of the people. I was in Essex. There's no football in Essex. You got Colts United. And Colts United's clicky to get in. You got your army barracks. They're going to look more at supporting army soldiers to have a professional lifestyle. Same as I've done boxing. I used to box in the army barracks. Don't get looked after when you're surrounded by army people. Although I was fitter, and then now even my boxing days, I've boxed ring around. But they look because they're part of the armed forces. They're supported more in their profession. No, I shouldn't have been doing boxing with Stephen Reynolds anyway, but it's not the point. I was fitter. Anyway, Italy versus England Sunday. That's a lot from Gareth Southgate and Harry Kane. The next time we'll be hearing from them will be at Wembley for the Euro 2020 final. This time tomorrow will be just 10 minutes from kickoff goal. But do you know what I have a thing I'm doing? I go on a tangent for a reason and don't fully explain my reason. And I'll get back to the text. Oh, no, I'll do that. I was trying to get to like a conclusion where I was going with my story of football, saying that I could have been there. That's why I was getting high rate on a game Wednesday, because I haven't watched football for so long, but it was my first love as a kid, football. 6 days a week I was playing soccer. I played about 4 matches a week as a kid when I was 13. Used to play 6-a-side football, 5-a-side, 11-a-side, played for the school, played Sunday football, and played for the district on a Saturday. I used to play a lot of football. So watching England, it was like me being a kid. 1989 as well. I remember 1989 when I first fell in love with football and Arsenal beat Liverpool. I don't think they've ever beat Liverpool since, but we won the first, when Arsenal win anything, 1989 is when we had Michael Thomas. That's probably back then. Michael Thomas, and I can't remember who scored the other goal. Can't remember. I can't remember. It'll come to me later. But anyway, talking about the England game, moving on. I won't bother on too much. We wouldn't be where we are without him. Kane is asked about a number of captains in the England squad. It's a massive strength of ours as a squad, as a captain. It's not an easy job, but it definitely helps when you're not just one voice, but it's many voices who help out before and after games. We wouldn't be where we are without those players. They have given a good vision for our younger players as well. They play an important role. This effort has been about the whole squad. England manager Southgate and a lack of experience for some players. There are benefits from having experience in big matches, and sometimes there are benefits for all. It's all a bit being fresh and exciting and new. Declan and Calvin in particular have adapted so well to the challenge. As I said earlier, they have already played against some outstanding players. We have trust in all our players. This effort has been about the whole squad and will continue tomorrow. We have a lot of leaders, more from Southgate. We talked to the players for years about the importance of staying disciplined on the field, staying calm. And I think it's key. Yes, the players know the atmosphere around. You can be intense, but you have to keep your focus and not be distracted and lose heart. We have a lot of leaders who have grown in the group. The voices during the games are important. A different tactical challenge, Italy versus England. Southgate is asked what his team needs to do better. It's not necessarily about doing better. The key is to hit your normal level. Lots of your teams in the finals end up underperforming. It's about transferring what you do on training pitch and into the match. The game is now a different tactical challenge, and we have got to prepare properly for that. Whatever path the game takes, we are already. England manager Gareth Southgate on if he's allowed himself to think about winning Euro 2020. About at the back of your mind, you always have a bit of vision on how you'd like to see the end and play that out. But the reality is you have to focus on the process and focus on the performance, and that's what we've always done with this team. It's important the players are understanding that whatever path the game takes, they are prepared and they are ready. If you start to think about the end, then you're probably heading in the wrong direction, and we've just got to control the bits we can control. Foden is definitely a doubt. England manager Gareth Southgate and Phil Foden's foot injury. We've been on the bus for the last couple of hours, and the medical team will give us an update. He's definitely doubtful, although it's something serious. It's just whether it will keep him out of this particular game. Well, England game tomorrow, ladies and gents. I hope you're all looking forward to it. Absolutely phenomenal. I'm just going to put a short break. We're nearly at the end, guys. I'm not joking. We're just going to play another 10, 15 minutes.
Or even to their kids' sports day. And it won't feel like Freedom Day, Prime Minister, to the businesses who are already warning of carnage because of the loss of staff and customers. It must be obvious, with case rates that high, his plan risks undermining the track and trace system that he spent billions and billions of pounds on. Prime Minister, there are already too many stories of people deleting the NHS app. He must have seen those stories. And they're doing it because they can see what is coming down the track. Now, of course, we don't support that, Mr. Speaker, but under his plan, it's entirely predictable. What is the Prime Minister going to do to stop people deleting the NHS track because they can see precisely what he can't see, which is millions of them are going to be pinged this summer to self-isolate?
Mr. Speaker, of course, we're going to continue with the programme of self-isolation for long as that is necessary. I thank all those who are doing it. But of course, what we're also doing is moving to a system of testing rather than self-isolation, and we can do that. We can do that because of the massive rollout of the vaccine program. And what I'm still not, I think about the fourth or fifth time, Mr. Speaker, it's still not clear whether he's actually in favour of this country moving forward to step 4 on the basis of the massive rollout of vaccine. And yes, of course, Mr. Speaker, this is unlike the law where you can attack from lots of different positions at once. To oppose, you must have a credible and clear alternative. I simply do not hear. Is he in favour of us moving forward? Yes or no? It's completely impossible to tell.
Just to, once again, it's Prime Minister's questions and the Prime Minister answers questions. Yes, Tom.
If he stopped mumbling and listened, he'd have heard the answer the first time. We want to open in a controlled way and keep in line baseline protections that can keep down infections, like mandatory face masks on public transport. Now, we know that will protect people, reduce the speed of the virus and the spread of the virus, and it won't harm the economy. It's common sense. Why can't the Prime Minister see that?
Prime Minister.
Of course, Mr. Speaker, we can see that it's common sense for people in confined spaces to wear a face mask out of respect and courtesy to others, such as on the tube. But what we're doing, Mr. Speaker, is cautiously, prudently, and moving from legal diktat to allowing people to take personal responsibility for their actions. And that is the right way forward, Mr. Speaker. And I must say that if really that is the only difference between us, if he supports absolutely everything else, so opening pubs, opening nightclubs, getting rid of the 1 metre rule, getting people back to work, and it's all about whether the difference between making face masks mandatory or advisory on the tube. If that is the only difference between us, Mr. Speaker, then that is good news. But I'd like to hear him clarify that.
Mr. Speaker, he agrees it's common sense because it protects the public, but he won't make it mandatory. It's ridiculous. It's clear what this is all about. He's lost a health secretary. He's lost a by-election, and he's getting flack from his own MPs. So he's doing what he always does, crashing over to the other side of the aisle, chasing headlines and coming up with a plan that hasn't been thought through. We all want restrictions lifted. We want our economy open. We want to get back to normal. But we've been here too many times before. Isn't it the case that once again, instead of a careful, controlled approach, we're heading for a summer of chaos and confusion?
Minister.
No, Mr. Speaker, is the answer to that. Things, frankly, Mr. Speaker, takes a great deal of drive and it takes a great deal of leadership to get things done. If we followed his advice, Mr. Speaker, if we followed his advice, we would still be in the European Medicines Agency, and we would never have rolled out the vaccines as fast. If we followed his advice, Mr. Speaker, we would never have got schools open again with all the damage to kids' education. And frankly, Mr. Speaker, if we listened to him, we would not now be proceeding cautiously, pragmatically, sensibly to reopen our society and our economy and give people back the chance to enjoy the freedoms they love. We're getting on with taking the tough decisions to take this country forward, Mr. Speaker. We vaccinate, they vaccinate, we inoculate, Mr. Speaker, while they're invertebrate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Last week I visited Penketh South Primary School in Warrington to talk to Year 6 children about how we can generate cleaner energy in the future. Does the Prime Minister agree with me that as well as backing electric vehicle production in the Northwest, there's a great opportunity to shift towards low-carbon hydrogen by providing support for projects such as HyNet Northwest, which by 2030 will secure thousands of green jobs in the Northwest, as well as by cutting emissions to the same level as taking 4 million cars off the roads?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I believe that the Northwest, in addition to the rest of this country, can be a world leader, will be a world leader in hydrogen technology, and I think the HyNet project is an excellent example. We've already put 45 million into supporting the HyNet project, kickstarting our hydrogen capture and storage, and I thank him for his support.
We now come to the leader of the SNP, Ian Blackford.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And can I wish England all the best for the match tonight against Denmark? And I associate myself with the remarks of the Prime Minister on the tragedy of the bombing of 7/7 that we all remember so vividly. And also, Mr. Speaker, yesterday was the 33rd anniversary of the Piper Alpha disaster, where 167 people cruelly lost their lives. And our thoughts are very much with the friends and family that are still grieving over the terrors of that event. And finally, before I move on, this is also Srebrenica Memorial Week, and we should be remembering those that have suffered at genocide, whether that be in Bosnia, in the Holocaust, in Rwanda, and many other places. And perhaps the Prime Minister will meet with me to discuss how we can help the Srebrenica charity here in the UK. Mr. Speaker, this week the Tory government introduced its so-called electoral integrity bill. In reality, the bill is designed to do anything but increase the integrity of our elections. It is a solution in desperate search of a problem that simply does not exist. What the bill will do is to impose for the first time Trumpian voter ID laws in the UK. The Electoral Reform Society says it could lead to voter disenfranchisement on an industrial scale. Disenfranchising people from working class communities, BME communities, and others already marginalised in society, creating barriers to vote. Prime Minister, why is this Tory government trying to rob people of their democratic right to vote?
Mr. Speaker, what we're trying to protect is the democratic right of people to have a one-person, one-vote system. And I'm afraid that I have personal experience. I remember vividly what used to go on in Tower Hamlets, and I think it is important that we move to some sort of voter ID, and plenty of other countries have it, and I think it's eminently sensible, and people, I think, will be reassured that their votes matter, and that's what this bill is about.
Goodness gracious, Prime Minister, come on, there were 34 allegations of impersonation in 2019. This is a problem that does not exist. It is a British Prime Minister seeking to make it harder to vote, because it's easier to get re-elected if the government can choose the voters, rather than letting the voters choose their government. Mr. Speaker, 3.5 million people in the United Kingdom do not have a form of photo ID. 11 million people do not have a passport or driver's license. These millions of people will be directly impacted by seeing their right to vote curtailed. And it's not just the opposition saying this. Members of the Prime Minister's own party have called his plans an illogical and illiberal solution to a non-existent problem. Mr. Speaker, will the Prime Minister withdraw these vote rigging proposals immediately, or he will continue down the path of being a tin pot dictator?
Right. Well, Mr. Speaker, look, I think he's making a bit of a mountain out of a molehill, if I may respectfully suggest. Councils will be under an obligation to provide free photo ID to anybody who wants it. And I do think it reasonable to protect the public in our elections from the idea of voter fraud. Nobody wants to see it. No, and by the way, I don't think that elections in this country should be in any way clouded or contaminated by the suspicion of voter fraud, and that's what we're trying to prevent.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And I was pleased to see my right honourable friend in Cornwall for a very...
Thank you all for listening. Now, to come near the end of the show, I wanted to outline something. My friend on the show, we talk about people problems. We talk about, supporting the country as a whole, things what we lack in the UK, in citizen advice, in job centre, things, homeless people that are struggling with, people like almost in the condition that I was in when I split up from my wife, alienating fathers. There's more deaths in men than there's women from alienated parents. Alienated parents could be a woman or man. I'm not going to wipe women off the platform because I support feminism. I do support feminism. I don't hate women. I don't hate my ex-wife. I don't love her, but I wish her for the best of eternity and a healthy lifestyle. I don't know, maybe I don't know what she's up to, I don't know what she's doing, and I say things when I'm a bit upset and angry in my mind. But in reality, deep down, I hope she's having a healthy life with she's engaged to a new partner. I hope she's living a healthy, happy life, engaged to a new partner, and looking after my kids and making them healthy and just as wise as their father. Because at the end of the day, they've got my genes. And I'm an intelligent, optimistic, flamboyant, walking, talking human faculty, I like to think. But you come through to my show, I've got wisdom, I've got knowledge, I've got encouragement, I've got supporting the democracy as a whole. A lot of things I do are supporting people with their problems that they can't get the advice of citizen advice, because I know the answers already, and I've been there with the answers, and they're looking for the answers. Well, I know the answers because I'm not telling them the answers. These are the paid members of Citizens Advice. I don't get paid for doing this, but I've got more advice than Citizens Advice, and better advice, because I show it time and time again when I come on show. People, alienating parents, obviously not many of the occupants in the job know about alienating parents, which I do because I've been through it many years now. I see many fathers struggling, I see many mothers struggling. One of my best friends back in Hertfordshire was an alienated mother. Her daughter got beaten up by a stepfather, not even the real father. He's taken custody of my ex best friend's daughter, which is his stepfather. He's taken custody of her because he's got her other kids, and she was married to him. But he also broke her finger, her daughter's finger, and she had no say. Her own daughter and the father that she had the kid with is now homosexual. It doesn't. No, it's neither here nor there. But he's still father. He's not fit for purpose. And then there's narcotics, but she is just as adamant as me to be the righteousness, the parent to that child. To be a parent to that child. But they're taking the rights of her. Just for the courts, say so. But the stepfather is not fit for purpose. He's not looking after her properly. Why is she not getting custody of that child? Why is social services letting this happen? Violence has been caused to a youth of today. Seen, medical evidence, broken finger in a bandage. Why are people not the right team not stepping in and saying this is, cruelty, this is child cruelty, this is neglection? Why is this not getting supported? It happens in so many families and they turn a blind eye to it. I mean, you've got the biggest judiciary in the UK. They sort these other authorities out, like social services, CAFCAS. They're not doing their job. You send them qualitative evidence. I mean, the qualitative evidence report there would be in the hospital report, the x-ray, the bandage. It's there, black and white, in front of them, and they're still letting it happen. They're still letting it correspond with the residents of the unfit for purpose of a stupidity father. Happens in so many situations, and my blood boils in my skin. If my blood boils, I go to sleep, and sometimes I feel like I don't want to wake up. I can't comprehend in this modern society we live in. I'm trying to support a society. I'm trying to support the wealthiest people, which are the healthiest people that see clear as day for their children. Not just the children, not just their children, but try and support the whole country as a whole. The right people don't get behind them. You get Jekyll and Hyde, for instance. Well, 90% of the population are Jekyll and Hyde to some certain extent. They're thieves, or they're, they've done, shed load of racketeering. Everyone makes mistakes in life. Don't get me wrong. I've made many mistakes as a youth for today, but the corner and the leaf I've turned is coming on leaps and bounds, and I'm showing it. I've been showing it day in, day out. And not only that, my information I give out to homelessness, to people suffering alcohol and narcotics that come tune in and think, yeah, he's right, we could make a change. It could make a change, it could better me financially, it could better me mentally, it could better me physically, and he's motivating me because he's giving me a good guidance of life. But yeah, I was talking when my mate come on the other day, a little while ago, when I worked as I was a convener facilitator in a church. I like to drink my cup of tea with nice company. I was born in the church. I was born in a church. I was christened in the Church of England. I went to Church of England primary school. Got married in Church of England by an almond. I wasn't, I would never got married through that situation. I got married under the influence of an almond. I wasn't in the right frame of mind. I had a bit of a breakdown from finishing my professional boxing career, if I'm totally honest. I wanted to be a world champion. I was adamant. But, despite my head injury, I shouldn't have done boxing. They probably a life-saving commitment that I come out at the right time. I thought I could have been this middleweight world champion. I'd have had to lose £2, but £2 nothing, is it? What's £2? 2 bags, not in a bag of sugar. I could have lost that pretty. I probably lost that just sitting here in my office, giving you good guidance and news. Not doing much leg work. Got legs like chickens. But yeah. Anyway, let's get off that subject. Yeah, the thing that people suffer with the most, when if you split up in a relationship, you lose your kids, the father has to move out. It's hard for a father to get accommodation. Might get a bed sit, might get a house share. You got no commitments. They just going to stick you in a hut. They don't care. As long as you got a roof over your head, regardless, you got heating, electric, whatever. But the worst thing is splitting up a relationship. Your ex-partner is going to try and keep as much legal documents of yours as they can to write your name off. They're blood boiling because your relationship hasn't worked for whatever reason. They're going to cut your clothes up, perhaps. Everything that you've earned, if you worked as a family, everything you work for, everything you stand for, they're going to try and destroy your passport, your driver's license, get all your cars taken, your tools, everything. You're going to come away with nothing. You're going to come away purposeless, useless. You have to start all again. I've started again, and I'm probably 1 million times better now than what I've ever have been. With a bit of pen and paper. One thing you do lose is, like I say, your legal documents, your passport. Maybe if you don't remember your national insurance number, you might cut your national insurance number. You're no longer, you're like an asylum seeker, stuck in the UK, even though you're born and bred here. Go to job centre, I need ID. You need to get a job, you need ID. Well, job centre ain't going to buy your ID for you. Then you can't get universal credit. You can't get any help. You go to citizen advice, I've got no ID, I need ID to get universal credit. But you're stuck in a homeless shelter. You've got no place of abode. They can't use that address because of debt collectors. And a lot of them people in the homeless shelter are causing crime because they're homeless. They've got no food. They've got no universal credit. Their only way of life then is to cause criminal activity, go thieving, begging off the streets. You know, it's that working in that environment, living in that world I was living in of Greater London. It's in my town. A few homeless people, but a lot of homeless people do it for. Some homeless people do it just for their own. What's the word? Their pride. People go homeless because they're pride. They don't want to lose pride. They feel worthless. They just lost their. Not worried about losing their wife, but they've had their children wiped off them. They had their family home that they built, that they've done all the painting for, taken off them. Just because they went out with their mates on a Friday. Their wife got the arm and kicked them out the next day. But, you know, sometimes that, if a relationship, chemical imbalance isn't working, 9 times out of 10, the guy's got to walk because the guy's more masculine in his voice, which causes domestic violence. He'll get nicked. And what a feminine woman can shout, but it's a feminine scream, isn't it? It's like it's not as high pitched as a man. When a man shouts a masculine voice, it's a bellow, it's a growl, it's like a wolf. It's going to get noticed by your neighbours more than a woman shouting. Nobody's putting a bat an eyelid if a woman's shouting, but to a man, it sounds aggressive. A man's going to get punished first. So that's probably why there's more homeless men than there's women. But yeah, I'm not saying that's facts in every situation, and we don't know the facts behind every argument behind closed doors. Some men could be throwing their weight about, punching women, throwing things at doors and the kids in the house. We don't know, but I'm just saying, like 9 times out of 10, it comes across that the man shouting, it's abruptive and it's violent. So that is domestic violence, and that's why police use level 2 force when they hear a man has been abruptive, shouting, and his kids in the house. Regardless of your profession, regardless if you're a World War II soldier, regardless if, no, not World War II, it's a bit old now, but regardless if you went to Afghanistan, regardless if you went out to Gaza or wherever in the world there's a war and you've served the army, you're not going to think, well, his arms are classed as firearms. He's definitely not going to use his hands. They don't care about that. All they care about is what the neighbours call up and say to them. They know they've got an ex-armed soldier in the house shouting violence. That's what you get told. Violence can be domestic. Domestic violence means verbal, by the way, just so you know. Domestic violence means verbal. The man is opened his voice. Regardless if you had a beer can thrown at your head, regardless if you had a plate thrown at your head, you're now using domestic abuse. So that the police got to act and take that domestic abuse man out of the house, regardless if the woman's thrown anything at your head. She's the mother. Obviously we've got the Queen. The perspective of England is the Queen. The Queen is the cover of the nation, and that's a woman. wonder if it'd change when we get a king. I wonder if equalities would change, like almost, you know, equalities to what it says on the tin. That'd be different, wouldn't it? There's just as much homeless women than there is men. There's just as much deaths as in men there is women. There's just as much grey-haired women than there is men. I know a lot of women like to dye their hair till they're about 80, don't they? They still look 60 or 50. Tricking us young fellows. I'm not young anymore. I'm a wise man. 38 this year. And for one, I do not dye my hair. I'm just going to grow old with wisdom that I get grey there. That's the only bit I get grey, and you can't see it when my hair gets this long. And when it goes grey, it will be grey. I'm not going to be a Boris and bleach it. I bleached it when remember when was it Romania, when all the Romanians dyed their hair blonde for the Euro '96 or something, or one of the World Cups or whatever it was. They all dyed their hair blonde. I've done it then. I dyed my hair blonde just for the trend. The whole school dyed their hair blonde. It's like a trend setter thing, wasn't it? I think the whole world done it. But anyway, ladies and gents, thank you ever so much for coming through, supporting the show. You listeners that are listening, I've got 15 people on Castbox, one on YouTube, but a couple pop in on YouTube actually today. It's been quite nice. Just even listening for a minute. If they take it in as a procurement to what society should act like or not, it's a different story. But I know what a procurement is. That's why I come back every day. I'm just hoping that people give me a bit more acknowledgement. They're watching the local news. They've either watched BBC One or ITV, someone I don't know. But the 203 subscribers I've got personally know me. So I think, why wouldn't you listen to someone that's got more qualitative data, more local news in your constituency, that's going to more support your family than listen to a broader aspect of news, which is targeting, it won't even targeting Essex. You only hear maybe 1 or 2 stories out of a year about what's going on in Essex. My background is going to be Parliament. You know, so I'm going to talk about politics around Parliament. If I see stuff of Will Quince or Watling or Priti Patel in it, this sort of Essex constituency, because Priti Patel's only Whitton, just near Chelmsford. Will Quince, Clacton, you've got Watling. No, Will Quince, Colchester, you've got Mr. Watling in Clacton. So if I see anything political, what they've just brought up in the media, it's coming out because it could be some political aspect that could be affecting. I mean, Will Quince was talking about the flooding up the industrial park in town. Could be affecting your journey to dropping your kids off at school. You know, so if I see anything like that, that is red alert news for the local area. So if you're not looking at Proclamation News and Garance, and you know, it's one of them 200 and whatever subscribers I've got, you're looking on BBC News, you ain't going to find out the local news, what could be affecting your family, could be affecting your doctor's appointment, could be affecting you going to a hospital appointment. That's your own fault. I'm trying to help. I'll be back here day in, day out. Wish I could get this, you know, I'm banned on Facebook at the minute. Once I get my ban up on Facebook, this will be aired out to over 1,000 people a day again, as before. And my mate will be sitting on the side of me on the screen. And hopefully, if anyone else wants to jump on board, talk about their provocations in their life, maybe they're applying for PIP. You know, everyone's got mental health during this lockdown. They're making it impossible for people to get PIP for mental health. But there's, you know, depending on your circumstances of what your mental health is for, there's ways around it. And some people deserve it, why others don't. Why others don't. There's a motive behind people just trying to get mental health support because they want to go down the pub with their mates, or they want to go down a restaurant, eat at a fancy restaurant or a takeaway. Everyone wants the easy option, the easy life, just to go down the easy route. But to get help and you don't actually need help is ridiculous. Is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. The people they help, they go and sit in town, they stick crap up their nose. They cause more criminology for the police. They do not deserve any help. See, I was in Hatfield, group of 5 blokes. I was quite upset the police didn't actually attend, to be fair, but I sorted it out myself. I was mad enough out of all the men and women in town. I was the first one there getting the rodents off the town centre. 5 blokes out of their face. I don't know if they're injecting heroin, but there's definitely some sort of narcotic abuser living rough and drinking rough as kids would come out of school in the town centre. Schools all round near the Hatfield town centre. Hertfordshire Constabulary is just behind the town centre, the biggest, one of the biggest police stations in the UK. It's got a court, that's why it's called Hertfordshire Constabulary. Court right next door. And the police usually go on patrol around the area, but they sit in Resolve eating donuts in the cafe, not doing what they should be doing, foot patrolling in the town, getting them sort of rodents off the street, cleaning the rats, growing rats. They're sitting there, they're burning, drinking alcohol in the daytime when kids come out of school, effing and blinding. Kids don't need to see it, kids don't need to hear it, and they don't need to be influenced by young adults acting inhumane. Them adults are the ones that influence the kids. They think it's a thing to do. I want to be like him, swearing, he's tough, he's drinking a Stella. That's what kids are seeing today. Not seeing the right things. You know, they're going home thinking, I want to be like that complete idiot in town, one that's swearing at everyone. He looks really strong and brave. They're not seeing the good, you know, the good doers in life, the good community standards of human beings. Because in a household, you know, your mum and dad, they could be trying to bring you up in the best possible environment, but they've got 6 kids. Stressful. Dad's been out of work all day. Mum's been cutting hair all day. She works in a hair salon. Coming home to 6 kids. Although they've got a nice family, posh family, going hard working, they've got 6 kids to deal with. So they come home from work, done day's work, got to do all the kids' PE clothes. Kids are squabbling. You know, it's hard for families to adapt to start, you know, keeping their professionality within their mannerism with their kids when they get home. So some kids go AWOL in the end, don't they? They go AWOL, they're going to hang about in the wrong circles. They don't want to be at home with their mum and dad no more. They've had enough, been shouting at. Because dad's been doing his 9 till 5, mum's been doing 9 till 5. Then they've got 6 kids to feed. The kids come home with dirty PE clothes, got to wash them. They're getting sick and tired of the same 9 till 5 job and looking after kids. It's hard. It's hard for everyone out there. But anyway, I want to say thank you all for coming in. One love, God bless, and let's hope tomorrow. It's coming home. It's coming home. It is coming home. It's coming home, even if it ain't coming home, because it's at home and it's at Wembley, and we've got this far. And we haven't got this far in, like I said, was it 66 or whatever, 86? I don't know. Whatever Queen Elizabeth said earlier. But thank you all for tuning in. Proclamation as you gathered. Always trying to provide some sort of broadsheet, newscast, journalism, whatever you want to call it, a political analyst, a criminology analyst, and I'm trying to put my input into society. Hope you appreciate it. God bless. Take care. One love. Before I go, Biker's Bible. The bikers deserve a Bible, their own Bible, because drivers are not paying enough attention on the road. When I say check your centre mirror and your wing mirror before turning, acting in safe, sufficient directional choice. The biker's on the road for a reason, 2 wheels. So the 4-wheel drivers had to pay more attention, not only to what I'm saying, but in your driving test, you're told to look at your centre mirror and your wing mirror and look over your shoulder before you turn into a safe, sufficient directional choice. Because of motorcyclists or any cars overtaking or pedestrians about to cross as well. People driving over speed limits. All the things I say at the start of the show, this is irrelevant. Biker's Bible. Christian, a biker is not breaking the law. A biker is not breaking the law by overtaking while you're not concentrating at your wheel, checking your centre mirror and your wing mirror, turning, acting in a safe, sufficient directional choice. If you've done it in that way, there won't be as many accidents with bikes getting knocked off their bike. I've been knocked off a push bike. How can I get knocked off a push bike? I can't do over 30. I probably can't do over 20 miles per hour. I stay near the curb, go in a straight line on the main road, and I've got my leg run over. I've been knocked off a push bike so many times by stupid drivers. They don't check their wing mirror. I was driving on the main road, about 3 mile long, next to a curb in a straight line. On a road bike, I get wheels like that. It's not like my wheels stick out. It's not like my handlebars stick out. All in line, racing bike. When you pedal fast, it's not like man bikes. You go side to side. You're in a straight line. So in sync, I still got hit by a driver. So that's what I'm saying. Think safety. Think first. Soon my kids are going to be out going out on push bikes, and I dread to think some of the road users that go on the roads. Really do. Really do. Really, really do. I've been knocked off when I was about 16 on St John's roundabout near the fire station. I was going round the roundabout. The car, old couple behind me didn't see me put my hand out going round the bike. So they've gone straight into me. I went straight over the top of the car on my mum's new push bike with a baby bit on the back because my brother wasn't long gone. So a baby seat for taking him out on the bike. But I went straight over the top of the car, holding the bike. The bike went over the top with me. I somehow kept hold of it, and the bike was all bent up, buckled. But I luckily landed on my feet, flipped over the car. Literally, someone told it over the top of the car and landed it on my feet. I'm lucky I didn't land on my head. How I landed on my feet, I do not know. I was like Superman in the air, but I should have been hit in the air in the first place. Stupid drivers. Elderly people need to retake the test at about the age of 60, some of them, when they start deteriorating. One argument of a car with your wife or your husband while you're driving could cause an accident, or your kids in the back. Anyway, guys, take care. One love. Bring it home, England. Take care. Hey.